All right, Avalon, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. It's so awesome to finally meet you. I've heard so many awesome things about you.
So I am the regional sales manager for Catoctin. So I cover DC, Maryland, and Delaware. I'm currently in Baltimore, Maryland right now on my route. And so I've actually been with Catoctin for about 2 years now. Technically, it feels more like a year and a half because there was a good half of a year to where I wasn't really doing much outside of just like working in the distillery, bottling all of our wonderful whiskey and gin. So Catoctin is actually based out of Purcellville, Virginia. So if you're not familiar with the area, I know you're based out of Frederick. So we're at the tippy top of Virginia, about 15, 20 minutes, give or take, from the Maryland and West Virginia border. So we are we were actually the first distillery to be established in Loudoun County. So we're out in like wine country, and it's now up and coming to be beer country because there's a lot of the breweries that have popped up. Catoctin has been around for going on 12 years. We were established in 2009. Hey, this is Desi.
Lexi, taste
Hi, Desi.
So this is the hearts. 85, 90.
That's okay.
So that's 180.
So that was 180.
Woo!
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's pretty high.
This here should be.
I can feel it.
What you just tasted here is about 160.
160. Soon turn into the tails, which is where you cut it off. So you can drink the tails, they just don't normally taste all that great. So Becky and Scott are the owners. Becky is a chemical engineer, so she does all of our distilling for us. She is the Wonder Woman of Wonder Woman. I don't know how she gets half the stuff she gets done. Like, I don't think the woman actually sleeps, to be honest. Her husband, Scott, was a tech guy who had a big love for whiskey, just not so much his job. So about 11, 12 years ago, they took a trip out to Roundstone, Ireland as a little vacation, just kind of get away from it all and, tour all the distilleries and drink a bunch of whiskey. And after doing so, Scott had the drunken aha, he's like, wait a minute. My wife's a scientist. She could totally make whiskey. I hate my job. I love whiskey. Let's open up a distillery. So came back, threw his life savings into it, and we are actually now Virginia's most awarded whiskey. One of the things about our whiskey, so we do 100% rye, and it's all single barrel, and all of our rye is locally sourced. So into that being single barrel, we do 30-gallon barrels versus a traditional 53 or 59-gallon. And part of the reason why we chose, or Becky decided to do 30-gallon barrels is, so she's about my height, about 5'10", 5'9", and she wanted to be able to pick up the barrels herself and move them around and not to have to worry about anybody else, helping her out with it. Sure. So like, especially in the summertime, you see her with her shorts on, she's got bruises up and down her legs because she's just knocking the barrels around, making sure that, whatever she needs to do. So that's one of the cool things, because most people are like, oh, 30-gallon barrels, that's small. I'm like, oh, we're not a huge company. We're now in 26 states and about 6 other countries. But in the distillery itself, there's maybe about 20 of us altogether in the entire company. So it's not like we have, like 50 guys, coming over and females, to, move things around. There's on a day-to-day basis, anywhere between 5 to 7 people in the actual production side. It's really nice at Catoctin because even though, yes, we are a female-owned and distilled company, we pride ourselves on that. It's kind of like, it's not necessarily on purpose, but we just happen to have more females than men working for the company, especially the front of the house. Most of our management is female. So we have a very, we're all about that girl power, but, with our whiskey, it's not whiskey made for women. It's whiskey made for everyone by a woman.
This video brought to you by Honest Air in Mount Airy, Maryland.